Hello guys, welcome to Coding Cafe. My name is Mohammed Ali, and in this video we will talk all about encapsulation. And as you know that encapsulation is the first and most important concept of object-oriented programming. So we have to learn it through real-world examples, and also we will implement the whole encapsulation process through coding. So we will use scenarios to do the coding of encapsulation concept. So first let's talk about what is encapsulation. So imagine a capsule in your mind. Encapsulation is basically the combination or collection of class and object, and we know that a class has methods and attributes. Now what are methods? Methods are basically functions. In normal programming we use functions. Since we use these functions inside a class in object-oriented programming, so we call it methods. And attributes are basically variables. Since we use these variables inside a class, so we call it as attributes in OOP. So encapsulation solves the problems in implementation level, not in the design level. For the design level we use abstraction, and in which we will talk in the upcoming video tutorials, but this video tutorial is all about encapsulation. So encapsulation is just hiding properties, or you can say the attributes. In encapsulation we just hide the attributes by using the private access modifier, okay, and we hide the methods. Encapsulation is used for hide the code and data in a single unit, okay, to hide the data and code in a single unit to protect the data from outside world. In other words, you can say that the wrapping up of data and functions together into a single unit is called encapsulation. Now this feature keeps the data safe from outside interference and misuse. So this basically led to a concept of data hiding, or you can say information hiding. So two important points which I discussed till now. Encapsulation basically provides interface to access the functionality of the object and hides how it is implemented. So let's first understand this first point through a real world example. Let's take an example of keyboard. Consider a keyboard. Let's say you press E, or let's say you press this key A. You know that when you press A, it will be printed on the screen. You don't know how it is implemented. You just have a set of keys as a part of a keyboard interface exposed to you, but its implementation is hidden from you. This is encapsulation. You as a user do not know how it is implemented. You just know the interface to use it properly. So that's why I say it basically provides interface to access the functionality of object and hides how it is implemented. Now the second point is, or you can say the other aspect of encapsulation is to keep the attributes and behavior or methods as one unit, which helps to make the module more independent. So let's understand this also. As a programmer, you know that when you press A, 65 ASCII value is passed as a code or a signal. Keyboard object has this data as private. This helps in having some variable as private, as we don't want other to access it or modify it. So that's why we keep the keyboard object has this data as private. Those who need to access, only those are allowed and are kept along with the data itself. So they are treated as one unit and encapsulated. In short, I will say that we basically, the concept of encapsulation and this point is we kept all the attributes private, and most of the methods are public depending upon the scenario. We can also make the methods private depending and according to the scenario. So by using the objects, we can only access the public member of the class, not the private, okay? The private member is accessible only within that class in which these attributes, these private attributes or private method are available. And basically that class keep the methods and attributes as one unit, which helps to make the module more independent. Now let's understand this through another example. I mean the whole concept of encapsulation. In C Sharp, I mean in Visual Studio, mostly we write for the C Sharp code when we want to print something on screen or as output, we write dot write line or this dot write, okay? Basically these are built-in functions, okay? It needs a parameter, or you can say we pass any value to it and it display that value on as output, or you can say display on the screen, okay? So we just know what it works or what it does, but we do not know the implementation of this. That is how this whole thing, or you can say how the backend of this write line is made, okay? We just know that if we write write line dot write line or this dot write, then it will display output on the screen, or you can say it will show us the output, but we do not know about the implementation. The implementation of this is kept secret from a user, from us. So yeah, this is all about the encapsulation. Now let's create a new project to implement this encapsulation. Okay, so console app.net framework, and let's call this as encapsulation. You can give it any name you want, but I will call it as encapsulation concept. Click OK, and our project encapsulation concept is launched successfully. Now we will implement these two scenarios, okay? The first one is about the bank system, and the second one is about, I mean, this is a simple one, I mean, which will help more to understand the encapsulation concept. So first, let's discuss this one and implement this one. So first, here it is written that is create a class by the name calculator, which will have two methods. So come here and first as you know that this is our default class program, okay? And this is our main function. Now first, according to the scenario, let's create a class calculator to understand the whole concept of encapsulation, about which we talk, okay? Keeping in mind that whole information. So we can create a class calculator, and here it is written that is it will have only two methods, okay? First method will perform multiplication of the two values. So since it is about multiplication, so first let's create the first method. It will be public double. The return type of this will be double. Since it is written that two values, so it means that we will have two attributes. So we can say private, and let's call is at we will give it a name value 1. You can give it any name you want, so it will be double data type, okay? So private double value 1, create a second attribute, and it will be value 2. So this method will basically perform the multiplication functionality, okay? So here return, and we it is for the multiplication, so we can say value 1 multiply with value 2 for the same column, okay? So it will return the multiplication of these two values. According to the scenario, second method will display the result. So let's create a second method that should display the result. So this method will have no return type, since it is just to display the result. So here we can say console dot write line results equals to this concatenation sign, which is plus, and here we have to call the method which is multiplication. Make sure to put a semicolon here, okay? So basically we are just displaying here this message, which is multiplication result, and then we are calling this multiplication method here. So this will call this method multiplication, and this method, which is multiplication, this return basically the result of these two variables, which is value 1 multiply value 2. So let's say 2 multiply 3, 6, so it will return 6, and here it will be multiplication results equals to 6. Okay, it will display on the screen. Now the next thing is write a program that should take two input values from a user. So the program will take two values from a user and perform multiplication of these two values, take input from the main function. So let's do that. So this is our main function, and here we have to display a message to the user, enter first number equals 2, and instead of write line we can say dot write. Now to get the input we can write console dot read line, and as you know that this will take input from a user in string data type, so we have to convert it to double. So we will cut this code and we can say convert dot to double, these two braces, and paste that code back here. Okay, and let's copy paste this, and it will be second number. Now as you know that we get the first number here and the second here, so we have to store it inside some variable. So for that we can create here a variable of double data type. So we can say double, let's call it as input 1 comma input 2, and here we can say input 1 equals to this, which will get the first input from a user, and this is our input 2 equals to this. Okay, so it will get the second input. Now the important thing is that is how we can access this class. Okay, first let me tell you that what is encapsulation, about which we talk at the start of this video. Encapsulation is basically, the concept of encapsulation is to keep the attributes private and to keep the to hide. Basically private means to hide the attributes and to hide the methods according to the scenario. So we can only allow access to that methods which is required according to the scenario. So all the private things of this class is accessible within this class. Okay, we cannot access the private members, or you can say the private attributes of this class outside. So now we have to access the public methods of this class, which is multiplication and display result here. So how we can access that? So for that all you gonna need is to write here the class name, which is calculator, and we have to create an object of this class, so we can call it as obj1. You can give it any name you want. Equals to new calculator, and this put a semicolon here, calculator. Using this object we can just access the public member of that class using this object 1. Now the important thing is to pass these two values to this class, so then we will be able to perform multiplication using this method and we can display the result. So how to pass this? For that what we're going to do here, we can simply say public, and to create the constructor you have to write the class name, which is calculator, and as I told you it will accept two parameters, double. The first one will be the input 1 comma double input 2, and now inside this constructor we have to assign this input 1 to this private attribute value 1. 1 equals to input 1, and we will now assign input 2 to value 2, so equals to input 2, and now from here we can simply pass it. So we can say input 1 comma input 2. Are passing this input 1 and input 2 to the constructor of this class, which is the calculator class, and we are receiving these parameters here, okay, input 1 and input 2. And now we assign input 1 to value 1, which is the private attribute of this class, and input 2 to value 2. And constructor, basically whenever we run the program, the constructor is initialized first, and it will assign the value whatever the user enter, okay. So it will get both of these values, and it will assign it to value 1 and value 2. Inside this display result, we just say multiplication results equals to, and we are calling this multiplication method. So what is happening here inside this multiplication? As you know that value 1 get 2 and value 1 get 2 and value 2 get 3, okay. This is just an example, okay. So 2 multiply 3, 6, and it will return 6. So here multiplication results equals to 6. It will be displayed on screen. So we have to call this method, to use this method by using this object 1. So how we can do that? Let's write here object 1 dot display result. So it will call that method, okay. And since you know that, now it will display the result. And since you know that the multiplication method has no use there, so we have to keep this method safe from the user. So we will make it private, okay. So we will make it private. Now you can see that, let's say I'm going to remove this first, and I want to show you something. If I say object 1 dot, then object 1 has only access to display result method of the calculator class and not to anything else. You can see that, okay. We have only access to the display result, and all the other implementation is kept secret from us. We do not know what's going on there. We just know that this calculator class needs two parameters, which is input 1 and input 2. So we have to pass two parameters to it, and then all we need is to call this method by using object 1, which is the display result method, okay. So if I run the app, control F5, and you can see enter first number, let's say I'm going to write 3, and then enter second number, let's say 4. So 3 multiply 4, 12. So you can see that multiplication results equals to 12. Let's run it again, control F5, let's enter other values, 6, 5. So 6, 5, 30. You can see that. So in this way, in this video, you have learned that what is encapsulation and how we can implement encapsulation. And as you know that the encapsulation technique or concept is to keep the data, or you can say the attributes and methods safe, okay, as much as you can. So we keep the attributes private, and we keep the method, which is only one method, we keep public, and the other one is private. So you can see that a user can have only access, a user can only know that he has to pass only two values, which is basically the first input from a user and the second input from the user, and then he has to call this method, and a user do not know what is going on behind, okay. We are a programmer, so we just know that, okay. Now, as I told you at the start, the concept is when I say that is encapsulation is used for hide the code and data in a single unit to protect the data from the outside world. It is basically the concept of data hiding. Encapsulation provide us a way to hide, or you can say information hiding basically. So how we can hide the information? Let me tell you. Here you can see that we have this encapsulation concept, which is our project name. You can simply create another class here, okay. Click here, and here we have this add, okay. Click on add, and here we have this class. Click class and visual C# item class, and make sure to give a name here. Let's say calculator. So now I'm going to show you guys that how we can apply the data hiding technique to our this encapsulation. As I told you that encapsulation provides a way for data hiding. I mean to hide our information or hide our code from the real world, or you can say from the external or from other people. So you can simply click add, and you can see our class calculator.cs is created. Okay, you can simply remove this class calculator from here and go to the program.cs, which is basically our this code which we write here. Okay, now you can simply cut this class calculator from here, select this whole class, control X, and now go to the calculator.cs and paste your all code here. So you can see that, okay, this is our calculator separate class. Now, as I told you that encapsulation, basically encapsulation is to hide the class, or you can say to hide the attributes and the functions which I told you according to this, which is encapsulation is basically used for hide the code and data in a single unit to protect the data from the outside world. And which I mean when I give examples to you guys at the start of write line and dot write and the keyboard, it is this. Okay, we now a user has only access to it. Let's say I will create a .x file, or you can say the executable file of this class calculator.cs, and I will give it, let's say I'm a developer and I will give it to a programmer, okay, if he need this file. So he will just know that he has to get two numbers from the user, and he has to pass these two numbers or values to the calculator class, and he has to, by using this object one, when he call this method, then it will perform the multiplication. But he do not know what is going on behind this whole scenario. That is what is going on basically at the back end. Okay, he just know that it will perform the multiplication of two numbers, but he do not know what is going on at the back end. So we kept the implementation of that secret from a user, or you can say from the people about whom we do not want that they know about our code. So if I press Ctrl F5 and let's run our app, so you can see that our project is running successfully. Let's write here 7 multiply 2. So 7 multiply 2, 14. Multiplication results equals to 14. So you can see that we have learned successfully encapsulation through real world examples, and then we implement it using the scenarios. Okay, so we have successfully learned everything about encapsulation. So yeah, that's it for this video. If anyone is new to our channel, then please subscribe our channel Coding Cafe, like this video, put a comment below and let me know about your suggestion, or if you have any question, then please let me know in the comment section down below. Take care of yourself and bye for now.